Hello, greetings and salutations. Welcome back to the BFC, where we go into the trenches of the trading world and get us some DD from the source. Welcome to our 2024 second quarter recap. And what a hell of a second quarter it was. We had guests on from all over the world, even China. And I got to say, it was absolutely awesome. But I want you guys to tell me in the chat, what was your favorite interview that we did here at the BFC? I'm just curious. Oh, and the little secret, I'm in Florida right now. Well, not literally right now. That'd be impressive. But I'm on a much needed family vacation. I'm on a cruise. First time on a cruise, by the way. I've heard stories about cruises, but yeah, I'm excited. Alex, I know you like to go on a lot of cruises, man. So yeah, the first time on a cruise, very excited. But I'm probably in the chat right now because I can't control myself. I'm in the chat. I bet I'm in the chat. But don't worry, guys. I am ready to get back into it. I'm ready to dive into quarter three because the BFC has a lot lined up. And we're not stopping. We're growing the BFC Nation. That's what we're doing. DD from the source, baby. And if you aren't in our Discord, you're going to definitely want to stick around to the end. You know, maybe I can entice you. What can I say? All right, enough of me yapping. Let's get into it. Our 2024 second quarter recap. Hit it, Rob. What is the plan on merging all of Jun Fung Wang companies into the stock trading ticker? And when will that happen?
那就是将所有的军凤凰公司、所有的公司、所有的企业合并到股票交易代码的计划是什么？那这样子的一个计划何时会发生？
接下来的工作将金凤凰所有的业务一起并入到上市公司，从而完成了金凤凰上市工作。这个流程一直从今年的年初一直都在做。计划6个月左右完成全部工作。
Basically, this is an ongoing process that we are merging our companies with the listed company. So the process already started the beginning of this year, and we expect this process to complete in 1 month.
Oh, wow, 1 month. When it's all said and done, and I know this was a question that came up in the chat just now, when it's all said and done, roughly about how much dollar-wise, if you want to say USD, how much will be in Igpk from Jun Fung Wang and what you plan on bringing in?
好，那当这样子的一个合并流程完成的时候，您大概预估就是军凤凰有多少的资本会进入到 Igpk 里面？大概又以美元来估算的话，
在我们的这个估算大概会有2万股元增加了2万股元的参与，平均买个股元以这个1万的买金来计算，大概也会有100亿左右吧，几十亿到100亿。当然了，这个数额是陆陆续续进入的。
是美元嘛？对不对？刚刚讲100亿是美元
啊？
刚刚100亿是美元吗？还是人民币？
什么？就是买个股将来将会有这个大约这个有2万股元会参与，平均买用户持有100万股是有这个计划的。以目前来看这个问题应该会有超过2万用户参与这个购买这个金凤凰的股份，平均按买用户持有100万股来计算。大约估计会参与的股数会在200亿股左右。当然，这种情况是陆陆续续进入的，不是一批的它是陆续性的。
All right, so our estimation is that there will be 20,000 users from Jun Fung Wang purchasing, on average, 1 million shares per user. So our estimation is that we will see 20 billion shares being poured in. It's just that this is going to be a gradual process, not a one-time process.
Okay, just a quick another follow-up. When he says 20 billion shares, is that, and I believe that they talk about those shares being locked up. So would they be adding 20 billion shares, or would those shares be restricted and allocated? That's an important question.
这刚刚指的这200亿股是说会是锁定并限制在就是用户的群体里面的，还是就是增加到 Igpk 这样子个上市公司里面？
增加到 Igpk。
Yeah, it's not going to be restricted. It's going to just be added to Igpk.
Okay, I'm just want to make sure I understand the share count. So would it be 2 billion shares or 20 billion shares? And would those be open and free trading shares? I just want to make sure that we're not getting lost in translation here. Basically, right now there's about 4 billion outstanding or authorized shares, if I'm correct. I should have pulled up the share structure. My bad. But that's roughly what it is. But if you could ask, how many shares will they be adding to the company? Is he talking dollars, or is he talking? I think that the confusion is shares versus dollars. So will he be adding? Is that dollars or shares? I guess I should say.
好的，这边的问题是说，IGBK 目前他们自己本身是有40亿股的，所以想要确认一下，是增加的股数都是就真的就是20亿股，而且是完全开放可以自由交易的股份吗？而且说，像是增加的是股数，而不是美元，要确认这件事情。
刚才所说的指的是股数啊，以股数，因为这个价格的话，未来会收股还没办法确定啊，就是现在所说的是以现有的股数。
All right, so let's confirm that this is going to be 20 billion shares added to the company. And as for the price, Mr. Wang cannot predict the price at this moment.
Okay, so 20 billion shares will be added to the company. So this is why we do due diligence. So they'd be free trading shares. That would dilute the share. It would dilute it, but it would be based on the company valuation. So what would the company valuation be after everything is in?
好，所以我们就接下来就是说会有增加200亿的这样的股数哈到 IGPK 当中，那会是自由交易的股份。那基本上虽然说就股数变得庞大的许多，但是还是想要请教一下王先生，就是对于君凤凰上市之后的估计市值，大概您认为是多少？
我们的初期估值大概是在100亿，这100亿的这个人民币啊，华就是在这个15亿左右的美元。
Right. So our valuation, our estimation is at 10 billion renminbi. In US dollars, it's going to be 1.5 billion.
Okay. And I do want people to understand, like, the e-commerce thing is that these shares are going to be ever evolving. So that's the positive on it. So people are concerned about the dilution, but I want to ask, how quickly will those shares be added? Will it be done like month by month based on app usage? And I tell him thank you very much for taking all these follow-ups, because I know that people are really interested in this. Because will it be based on the usage of the e-commerce JFH app?
好，那当然就是说，现场有非常多的观众，他们对于就是说股数大幅增加冲淡股价这件事情是非常非常在意的，所以他们想要了解说，像这样子200亿的股份加入到整个上市公司，大概是会以怎么样的一个速度？是根据整个应用程式的使用来讲，是每个月按照这样子的一个程式使用去慢慢增加吗？
以这个应用程式用户数的增加，但是这个工作会在以半年一次，以半年的这个批次来做的。
All right. Yes, it's going to be according to the usage on the app, the number of users on the app, but the frequency of this update is going to be done in batches once per 6 months.
Okay, so that is very helpful, actually, because I think a lot of people were talking about basically, adding again. It's happened in companies. You could tell them in the United States and in OTC, where they will add 10 or 20 billion shares, and it doesn't help the share price. And so I'm gonna keep it going. I do have a lot more questions here, so tell them thank you very much for answering those questions. And I will be doing some live, those Discord members. I will be joining you guys after this live to discuss this interview here. So if you could tell them thank you for answering those follow-ups.
非常感谢王先生刚刚有这么耐心的回答我们这些问题，就是请您了解，就是在美国，尤其是在场外交易 OTC 这样的市场呢，很多时候在电商的领域当中，可能增加100亿股、200亿股，可是对于股价没有帮助，所以投资人他们是会非常担心的。但是就是非常感谢您有回答到这些问题。
All right. We're going to keep going. Tell us about Jun Fung Wang and what makes your business model different from companies like Alibaba and Temu.
请您介绍一下君凤凰公司，您的电商商业模式跟阿里巴巴还有 Temu 等公司有何不同？
阿里巴巴属于较传统的电子商务，用户与平台的粘度较低。金凤凰属于新时代的共享数字电商，用户与平台的粘度很强，用户与用户有推荐关系，用户与用户与平台有情感的，有故事的。比如用户与用户之间就会问你是什么时候开始使用金凤凰的，就会一起关注金凤凰的发展，就会一起去分享金凤凰，推广金凤凰，并且带动更多人使用金凤凰。这个用户与平台的粘度是非常强的。
Alibaba and those other companies, they are traditional e-commerce companies, but my company is a very new one. It's more like a sharing digital e-commerce platform where users can connect with each other, can connect with the platform. They have their own emotions and their emotional connections with the platform. And users can interact with each other. They can talk about different topics, such as, let's say two users, they are both into finance. They would talk about, when did you start looking at the financial market? So those users together, they can recommend each other. They can together invest on the finance platform on Jun Fung Wang together. They can promote, and then they can also enjoy a lot of benefits together on Jun Fung
Wang. Okay, absolutely. Based on the usage of, I'm going to just follow up a little bit. Based on the usage of the app, is it based on obviously how much one will spend?
所以说，就以用户来使用来讲，是不是根据他们在平台上面消费多少消费额？What is based on the
amount of tokens that they can exchange for shares.
Token, all right. 就是用户他们所获得的红包也好，或者是代币也好，或者是其他的好处也好，是不是根据他们在平台上消费额？
对的
，Yes。
用户在平台的获取是获取的红包或者是代币，是根据用户对平台的一个消费以及分享的贡献值来衡定的。
Yes, the tokens and the red envelopes that users receive are based on the contributions that can either come from consuming, spending, or recommendation.
Okay. All right. How many subscribers are there that are using the app now? There's been I think people said there were 50 million or 5 million. I think that what we've been reading is 50 million. How many are using the app? I believe you said 20,000, correct?
想要了解一下，就是君凤凰的应用程式大概有多少用户？因为之前我看到的数字似乎是5000万，我也有看过有500万的说法。您刚刚还有讲到，就是说会有2万名用户去购买股份，所以到底是有多少呢？
以目前金凤凰总注册量是在9000万，然后有相当一部分，我刚才所说的会有2万以上的股民，2万以上的用户参与的股票的购买，因为目前有很多中国用户已经很期待能够通过券商软件、交易软件，在美国购买到中国的金凤凰股票。
Right, so the current number of registered users, the total number, is 90 million. I mentioned 20,000 because those actually are the users who are going to actively purchase stocks with the ticker Igpk. It's just that a lot of Chinese people are looking forward to be able to purchase Chinese stocks in the United States through e-commerce trading platforms.
Okay. And so on a positive, and I'm talking to my subscribers now and I'm talking to the BFC Nation, I think that this is a different mindset, obviously, than, us traders and us investors over here. So I do see that as a positive. All right. So Tom, thank you very much for answering that. And ask him, how many employees does Jun Fung Wang have?
好，非常谢谢刚刚您回答的这样的问题，因为就能够去对应到，就是说我自己本身的观众群，他们有很多是投资跟在做交易的，他们在心态上面跟中国的网民其实不太一样，但是对整体来说，就是您刚刚的回答释出了一个非常非常正向的讯号。那接下来想要请问，就是军凤凰目前大概有多少名员工？
金凤凰目前有13000多名员工。
We currently have a little bit more than 13,000 employees.
Wow.
金凤凰公司总部在广东，中国广东，然后在全国各地有1000多个服务网点。
All right, so we're headquartered in Guangdong province, and throughout the nation, we actually have more than 1,000 service hubs.
Wow. Excellent. Very impressive. Those are big numbers.
这些数字都非常令人亮眼，是非常值得钦佩的数字。谢谢您。
All right. Describe the JFH e-commerce model a little more in depth, and what makes that model so unique for your consumers?
请再更深入的向我们探讨一下，就是您的电商的商业模式。那这样子的模式为何独特？
这样的模式，分享就是创业。用户在分享的时候，他就是一个有创业，因为他有推荐的关系。分享就是创业，消费就是就业，人人都需要消费，人人都是就业者。这个平台属于它属于共享型的。收益共享、数据共享，属于一个共享型的电商，人人都是这个平台的主人。所以说这样的模式，即用户的工作积极度极强。
So our model makes it possible for people to share as a business and consume as a job. And the unique characteristic of my platform is that we share data and revenue and all other things with every member, every user on the platform. So every user is an owner of the platform. This characteristic actually gives people more motivation to actually do business more proactively.
Excellent. Thank you for answering.
谢谢您的回答。
Hey guys, I'm going to shout out to everybody watching right now. I want you to hit a like, subscribe. Let's get the BFC numbers up. We are bringing it tonight. And thank you, every one of you, for watching and sharing your comments in the section. So yeah, subscribe to the BFC and hit that like button. All right. How has the Chinese population accepted this new brand of consumerism? And how exactly do they convert their tokens into company stock shares?
好，接下来想请教您的问题是：中国的民众如何接受这种新的消费主义的品牌？他们是如何准确的将代币转换为公司的股份？
中国消费者是属于勤劳积极的群体。众所周知，中国的老百姓是一个非常积极的非常这个勤劳的一个群体。他们对赚钱是特别积极的。他们在分享的时候，平台会有给他奖励；在消费的时候，平台都会给他们奖励。这种奖励是用绿色的积分直接记录，这个积分它可以直接兑换公司的股票。这个工作又没有繁琐，很简单所以说导致的用户很容易接受，并且非常积极喜欢。
All right. One thing you need to know about Chinese people and Chinese consumers is that they are diligent and they are proactive, especially when it comes to making money. So on our platform, consumers can receive incentives either by sharing or by consuming. And these incentives come in the form of points, and those points can be converted also to company stocks. This is a very easy process. It's easy to use and easy to like.
Excellent. Very nice. And you know what? I must say, we all watched the listing ceremony that you had, and it was very beautiful, very well done.
AI growth is currently 400% a year. We've never in our lifetime seen anything grow. We've seen some industries grow at 20, 30%. You know, those are robust. It's 400%, and it's not stopping. And as you say, it's going to affect every part of our lives, every company. People are going to become more efficient. It's going to eliminate middle people. It's going to make everybody smarter and more efficient in what we're doing. For example, one of our companies in AI manages smart cities. And what I mean by that is, so today, you know, and this company does it for sewer and water for municipalities. Well, you know, we all know population's expanding, but we also know governments are broke, that they don't really have the money to expand based on population growth. But if they can take their existing resources and make them more efficient through AI, that's hugely accretive and for their ROI, if you will. They don't have to build bigger, you know, industrial complexes. And so this company has been winning basically municipality after municipality, and it's growing exponentially. So that's an example. But we've got many interesting companies that touch AI. That, you know, I see you're wearing a headset. Well, we have a company that came out of the University of Michigan 14 years ago, but now principally a lot of it's related to Harvard, a company that is similar to Elon Musk's Neuralink, except non-invasive. So we've invested in a company called Neurable, and you can listen to Ramses, is the founder. He's interviewed on our YouTube channel, and what it does is the headset, we provide the software engine to that headset. So the headset can still do everything that you're doing. You're listening, you could listen to music, you're communicating, but we embed, let's call it a chip-like system, whereby the headset reads your electromagnetic waves in your brain. And by you, for example, thinking that you want to now not speak to me, but speak to somebody else who gets inserted, you just have to think and it actually will get executed. So you can change the music you're listening to. You can change your PowerPoint. I know this sounds very futuristic, but it's here today. This company is commercializing as we speak. Jackson and I just ordered headphone sets because it's launching in the next 60 days. But one of the first key applications is going to, I'll say, affect, you know, an element of cognitive decline. And what I mean by that is we all talk. And as we talk, we think of what we're talking about, but then we sometimes go on tangents. And sometimes those tangents are relevant. But in many cases in our life, in your work, in whatever you do, you lose focus. The headset is going to command and say, guess what, Sheldon? Get back into focus. You're straying from your thoughts. So we believe this is going to be a huge business. We've been told by many of the headphone manufacturers that they want to embed this software into all their headphones, because people are going to want to know and execute and think of the, you know, paraplegic communities and those who are suffering disabilities that only have their brain, but they can't work the rest of their body. They can now interact in a real-time way. So that's another company that, you know, it may not be the first thing people think about with AI, but it is a great application.
The first time I heard you start talking about this a month and a half ago, Stephen Hawking came to mind. I'm like, imagine if he had that ability. And I mean, and you talk about being organized and getting back on track. Don't tell my wife that, because she'll have me get one immediately, because I always lose focus. That's just the truth. But I mean, it's remarkable. I mean, like, it's remarkable what this is able to do and how many lives this could change and how many lives it could help. But that did come to mind. I'm like, just imagine. I mean, we're at the cusp of medical breakthroughs. And the fact that this is non-invasive is even a bigger bonus. You know what I mean? So that's amazing. Jackson, do you want to share thoughts on that? I actually wanted, after you give your thoughts on that, guys, keep putting your questions there. We're going to get to you in a second. And Jackson, take it.
Yeah, sure. I completely agree. Everything, Sheldon said, especially the paraplegics. I mean, that's actually the factor that his father was in a terrible car accident. That kind of what motivated him to go down this line and work. Harvard alum guy, very brilliant. And, so there's going to be so many applications for that. Also around safety. I mean, with this focus application, one of the first great applications, think about drivers or truck drivers who have to drive 12, 15 hours. They don't even realize when they start losing focus or potentially dozing off. And so just having that slight alert could end up, saving lives. So there's the extremes of life savings and, doing things and making changes to people's lives. But there's also, the very simple kind of first world problems where, when you're losing focus, think about you're listening to a podcast or an audiobook and you lose focus and it pauses automatically for you. So then you don't have to click the next back button. Just things like that, I think are just great killer applications that nobody else can offer, but extremely convenient, extremely useful, and that really is one of the great applications of and promises of AI in this company.
Yeah, and if you think of the military, and you're flying an F-16, you can actually be in tune with the machine. So where you have to have reaction times of splits of a second. So we think the potential here is almost unlimited. So.
It is. I mean, look, think about, and I'm an educator of 16 years. Think about how it could impact education. As somebody who, I have students that have ADHD or they have short attention spans. Heck, I do. I have short attention, a very short attention span. But I mean, to have a product like that, a revolutionary product that's a disruptive product, that could aid in educational people that have educational disabilities or learning disabilities. And could really be a key driver to help them succeed in their education. So there is literally no industry untouched that I think that, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Before we get to the questions, great questions in there, by the way, I want to go through and I want to talk. Now, you guys have 5 basic divisions that you're investing in. You got blockchain, artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, biotech, and junior resources. So if we could go down the line, I want to go down the line, so just to give some structure to this interview, and just so that way people could understand. All right, let's start with the blockchain. What's the most significant investment and collaboration efforts that you're doing? Let's go right down the line. Let's start with blockchain.
Jack, you want to address
Sure.
an idea or two?
Yeah. So I mean, we originally got into blockchain. We really liked the grand concepts of, smart contracts, immutability, really dealing with the supply chain. But we also saw a lot of the shortcomings with it. And, blockchain is one of our verticals. We're very bullish on digital assets. And we really are a believer of applications on the blockchain, not necessarily just cryptocurrency or, speculation. So we've got involved in a few different companies in this space, but one that we've kind of lumped in there, which probably should be his own section, is the stuff around micropayments and the AI to AI, because what they really deal with is the limitations of blockchain, which have to do with that scalability. And most of these blockchains that they have to deal with these issues of either scalability or decentralization, and so they seem to not be able to get past this issue of how do you get really the best of both worlds, and these companies have really solved that issue where you still have all of the security immutability aspects of the blockchain while also being low cost and infinitely scalable. So that should be in its own section, but we also are involved in a few variety of different blockchain projects. A couple going public now are listing. One is an alternative, say YouTube or Web3 space, where content creators can be paid directly as opposed to having to go through middlemen like, Alphabet, where they're taking 30% of the profits. And it might take them 60 days to get the revenue. As content creators, I'm sure you guys can relate. But so we're involved in a project that tries to disintermediate that. We're involved in another project that has a large established exchange for traditional business, like futures, commodities, and so forth, out of the UAE. And they're a crypto exchange as well, but going to be all regulated. So unlike Binance, which obviously had its issues and around regulation and money laundering, all this stuff, this is going to be completely regulated, but we believe it could be like the Binance, the regulated version of Binance. And so we're pretty excited for that to be launching in the next, 30 or 60 days as well. And so we have a pretty good portfolio of digital assets that we're pretty excited about.
Right on. All right, next in line, artificial intelligence. You guys talked a little bit about hypercycle, the internet of AI. Talk to us a little bit about TOTA-Q, and why that's so significant.
Okay. It's basically going to be extremely disruptive. So if we talked about user, consumption. Let's say you want to play a video game, but you look at companies like Netflix, right? So everybody is subscribing, and like I say, most people in the world cannot afford that subscription. But on the other hand, Netflix has a massive amount of content that's on what you call the long tail, where the hot shows of the moment are big in demand and everybody's, but then what happens is that wanes because everybody watches the latest movie or the latest series. But there's a huge amount of content that, I joke about the movie Easy Rider from 1968, and someone wants to rent that movie, but they can't afford Netflix. And now, not only can they say buy that or rent that movie for 25 cents, but Netflix now has billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of content that they can now start monetizing that they couldn't before. So this is going to change both let's call it the consumer side, that's going to decide, well, I just want to pay for what I use. I don't want to, I'm going to go on a toll highway. I just pay on when I'm on the toll highway. I don't have to pay for the rights to go there every month. And so also the vendor side is going to get returns on parts of the marketplace that they never could before. Also the music industry, many artists can't commercialize because, they can't charge 2 cents every time someone listens to their music. If you look at the three, Taylor Swift, Drake, and The Weeknd, they suck 95% of the oxygen out of the room. And many of these artists, they can't break through and get any revenue. And now they're going to be able to do that. So we call that the creator economy, where a lot of people that really cannot, there's a barrier to entry for them to get revenue. This is going to change. So we believe TOTA-Q, which is the micropayments platform, is going to be massively disruptive across many, many verticals. And we're extremely excited about that. And we're getting buy-in everywhere. Very few people go, oh, I don't want to do that, because it's a win-win, because there is no limit to the number of transactions that could be done at a time. And second is the cost per transaction is fractions of a penny. So the barrier to entry, where it costs you a lot of money just to process that transaction, is and that's why Google is so excited partnering with us, and that's why these Canadian banks are so excited. So it's launching also as we speak.
You guys heard that? Google partnering with Idkff. Wrap your head around it, and they're just getting started. All right, he said that. Google. All right, and I'll tell you right now, and this is the truth. Have you ever wanted to watch a show, guys, and you subscribe to, like, let's say HBO Go or Hulu just to watch the show, and then you unsubscribe, and it's a whole thing? I would be so happy. I know a lot of you guys would be happy being able to, hey, there's a really good hit series out. I just want that series. That's all I want. I don't want the subscription, because then you got to cancel, and then then you're talking about you waste time. So you're saving time. You're saving money too. Nobody wants to spend 15 minutes on the phone canceling a membership, and then there's a new show came out 3 months later. Got to call them, do it again. And it's like, it really alleviates a lot of financial stress and time.
I know many people that don't even know they're paying for some of these services because they just get buried, but they all add up. And again, it's going to bring in a new consumer, and it's going to help the vendors. So it's a win-win. We're not cannibalizing anybody's market. We're just enabling new consumers to enter the marketplace.
Mr. Chris Davenport, how you doing?
Hello. Happy Sunday. Thank you.
What's new?
Oh, I am recovering from crashing from roller skating. I almost killed myself. I used to race these high performance go-karts. I'm heavily involved in the race community. Yeah, I'd wreck, Eric, I'm not kidding. I'd wreck 60, 70 miles an hour on these things and never hurt myself. Maybe just a blessing. I flicking go roller skating and I'm supermaning it and land on my chest. And it's been a rough 2 weeks, but that's a personal thing that I'm dealing with. So it's I guess I'm 53 now. Maybe I need to slow down. I don't know. I love being active, love being out in the world, love being in nature. And, these other kids start going fast. I try to keep up with them. And, I'm just competitive by nature. So
No Crash Chris. That should be your new nickname.
just breathing like your ribs, bro. Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I'm doing well. Thank you so much.
But rib injuries, I cracked a couple ribs a couple times, and I'll tell you right now, they're the freaking worst. Absolutely the worst when you crack some ribs because you have to breathe. So
just sleeping, rolling over. I've my whole life took rolling over at night as for granted. Now I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyway,
so you're here with the BFC gang. Give us an update.
Well, first of all, for those who don't know me, I'm Chris Davenport. I'm the CEO of Auto Parts for Less Group. Our ticker is FLES, OTC Markets. Been on the OTC for since late 2018. We did a reverse merger and went public in 19. So we are a e-commerce model. We have really two websites. That's our entire business model. We have a marketplace. That's autopartsforless.com, and that connects enterprise sellers. So these are the largest part sellers in the world to a buyer, whether it's just a consumer or a business. So B2C and B2B. That's something that's never been executed before outside of eBay or Amazon. So a true double-sided marketplace, supply side, demand side. So very excited about the future for Auto Parts for Less. It's a massive lift from a technology standpoint. And then we have our previous model we kind of turned on. That's liftkitsforless.com. Catering to a niche market. That is not a marketplace. We are the seller of those products. So we're responsible for shipping and receiving, so on and so forth, customer service, all of that. A marketplace, right? We just get a percentage of every sale. It's a low CapEx model. They're some of the largest businesses in the world are marketplaces, things like Ubers and Etsy's and Amazon and, Instacart and so on and so forth. So we're a blended business model. And right now we're just focused on revenue. We turned Lift Kits for Less on approximately 6 months ago. Back in 21, we had our biggest share. We did about 16 million in gross revenue through Lift Kits for Less. Ended up, it was a huge benefit from obviously the stimulus money from the government. And we also suffered because of supply chain and ended up refunding $5 million in orders. So that was pretty catastrophic. So went all in on Auto Parts for Less. That was all of our focus, kind of shut Lift Kits for Less down. But since last made the decision to turn Lift Kits for Less back on, and revenue's been growing rapidly. I'm very excited. January, I think I've got my numbers handy here. Let me pull this up so I don't say anything out of place. Bear with me, Eric. Let's see. Yeah, so January did roughly 40 grand. February jumped to 70 grand. March, 102 grand. And historically, Eric, our model has always been January, February, March goes up. April, we trend down, stay flat. And then the next year, come down, stay flat. It's always very consistent year-over-year growth. But this was the first year since going back to when we started back in 2013. We actually grew March to April. Did 120 grand. We just finished up May and we did about 130 grand. And that's really a product of month over month adding products back into Lift Kits for Less. So
that is impressive. That's absolutely impressive. Now you were just on a podcast and hey, it's me, Brian. I got you covered right there. So my question is this: I listened to you speak, and I'm referring to the podcast, not just what he said. And you talked about $4,000 spent to retain that 130,000+. So, am I accurate in saying that?
Yeah. So I have our numbers are unaudited, but roughly, we're really leveraging organic sales, leveraging Facebook and TikTok and YouTube. We post every day on all of our Facebooks. We post, some sort of unique video. It's a brand new video every single day. We're emailing our entire database weekly about new products coming on. We launched Carly this week. They're a huge high-end suspension line. Literally just right when we were in the pre-show here, got a $1,600 order for Carly, some control arms. So it's really great to see that the work pays off when you add the product, add the year, make, model, fitment, execute, and then you're rewarded with the sale. We've really invested heavily into the back end of our platform. So we'll get pretty accurate inventory feeds from our distributors or from the manufacturers direct. We're telling consumers if it's available for sale, if it's in stock, what the lead time is. It ships same day, next day. Is it going to be a week, 2 weeks? Lots of great systems in place now so we can deliver a really incredible buying experience for our buyers. So,
we launched a test run, with a group called WellLink Media, who you could check out. They have offices in LA and New York, created by women for women, and every once in a while they let a guy in there, like their EVP, who I went to go meet out in California, Dan Casey, great guy, good organization. So they wanted to see, can we withstand the stress tests of them bringing us ads? Because what a lot of people don't understand is that when you run ads on linear television, meaning rabbit ears, or let's say any type of OTA that is not connected to streaming is a different animal. And we do both. But when you do that, you have to do reports. So in other words, you get an ad, let's say, for example, we got a $15,000 ad from Shriners, and they wanted 122 spots over a period of 2 weeks. You've got to validate each and every one. It's a data entry process. And the human error can come into play if you're overworking people, right? So what happens, is they want to see, can you handle $20,000 worth of ads a month, or can you handle 150,000? We could barely handle 30 because we're short-staffed. So what happened recently, which is really important to the upside, is our back end, which is a group called Wise DV. They've won more awards for software development than, just about anybody out there that's an independent like that. They allow us to be a CBS studio with a desktop computer, and a large screen. We can see every network that we have out there. We can insert commercials in an individual network. We can partition it off to do local ads. It's everything that you would have to spend $5 million on to set up a studio in the old day, right? So he developed a software program off Excel that allows us to do three things. Do a pre-log. So in other words, Eric sends me an ad, for Buffalo Fireside Chats, and he wants to spend $5,000. And ultimately, we put in the pre-log. The pre-log feeds the Excel spreadsheet, which ultimately posts the ads. It actually places the ads on the network. So my compadre, Maureen Cooper, doesn't have to sit there and type all of these ads in and insert them. They're known as insert ads for linear television, because linear television is what used to watch back in the 50s and 60s and 70s. And it just continues on. It's a continuum. So you insert these ads, and now after the ad runs, you got to do a post log. And that post log, you give back, to the broker, the media broker. The media broker then gives it to the advertising agency. Advertising agency approves it, and you ultimately get paid. So we ran about $150,000 worth of ads, through between November and let's say the end of April, a little bit more than that, maybe about closer to 160,000. Now that we have this program, it's really going to be a function of how fast do they want to place ads with us. And I know from the last conversation that they're going to get very aggressive. So what it means is this, just so you can have the math, guys, and the math is this. These are the two most integral things that have happened, and Eric, I'm just going to, I won't get into great detail as to who they are, but We've gone from 1.5 million homes at the end of March, early April, to over 18.5 million homes now. Okay. Wow. And that's strictly for OTA. It's nothing to do with streaming. Okay. That's OTA. Television sets with rabbit ears, any type of linear television. Okay. So that's a very, very large market. Okay. In terms, not so much the 18.5 million, but how many people are without any type of programming? Because, for example, okay, we have a group in Louisiana that we just leased 2 towers that gives us coverage of just about 2/3 of Louisiana. Well, 1/3 of Louisiana is in the middle of nowhere, and they have no cable. They don't have any dish. So we're the ones that allow them, okay, if you go buy a smart TV, you can now get programming. Okay, and we have 26 networks, okay, ranging from movie channels, okay, to, so, okay, the next step is, okay, what's the math? The math is this. We've gone to 18.5 million homes, which drives our rate card. Our rate card is what they pay us per 30-second slot. We're stuck at around $6. We're probably going to go to $10 now. All right, because we've gone from 1.5 million homes to 18.5 million homes. In addition to that, which, I convinced my wonderful partner, okay, in Maureen Cooper, that we are a public company. And even though, okay, I know you love your onlookers, okay, and the viewers, okay, that watch our networks, we're at 7 minutes per programmable hour. We need to take that to 14. And so now we're going to 14 minutes worth of per programmable hour. So how does that all work? So you take 14, divide it, okay, by 2. Okay, you got 28 30-second spots. Now we're going to start getting somewhere between $9 and $10, okay, for each 30-second spot, multiplied by 24 hours, multiplied by 365. They want, and WorldLink wants to do a sellout, which means they're going to sell at least 80% of that time, which will take us somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1.7 million, somewhere around that neighborhood, 80%. The other 20% we can keep for barter or release to them and have them market it. But they're talking sellout. Now that, remember, this is really important to understand. There are 26 networks under iDream CTV. That's one network. That's Comfy TV, which is in one of the top. We have 3 channels in the top 10 in a group called Cord Cutters, okay, which is on Facebook somewhere. I don't pay much attention to it. It's a Maureen thing. It's not a Chris thing. Okay, I'm more market-oriented, investor-oriented. I let Maureen do what Maureen does best, right? So with that being the case, we are now taking Movie Giant. And Movie Giant, which for the life of me, okay, I always thought was the sleeper because people love movies, period. And we've got a huge selection of that serial television, okay, that ranges from stuff from the 50s all the way through to, the early millennium, okay, and it's family programming. So it's very easy for an advertiser to wrap their arms around it. We don't have, okay, and we've been very conscious about that. I should say Maureen's been very conscious about that. So, okay, what's happening now? It's Movie Giant. When you have open enrollment, this is really important to understand. Open enrollment starts, I think it's October, right? And I'm old enough to know. So, at this point, okay, I'm already enrolled, okay? But when they do open enrollment, they get really aggressive with ad placement, okay? And they're paying top dollar, and they love doing movie channels. Why? Because there are 4 intersections within the confines of a movie on free television, what are known as fast channels, okay? Free ad-sponsored television, right? So we're a fast channel. Is what we are with networks underneath it. That movie channel, okay, will be sold out according to the people at WorldLink, okay, for a period of 4 months. All right, people just line up to do it. But WorldLink doesn't want to do anything with Movie Channel, okay, up until the point that they max out Comfy TV. So I'm not one to let grass grow under my feet, and I call somebody else that I know within the confines of the advertising business who introduces me to a third party. And I have them now starting next week to start marketing, okay, or Movie Giant. So, Movie Giant could easily do the numbers that Comfy TV would do. So, is it possible at this time next year when we're talking, okay, that we're sitting at $4 to $5 million a year in revenue just from insert ads? Yeah, that's very possible.
So now I know you guys have, and I'm going to just give you the floor in a second. So you are talking about share repurchasing, share buybacks. And I know you guys have taken a lot of slack for selling of shares going on lately. So I'm just going to let you open up and open the floor and talk about whatever you want to talk about. I have a couple follow-up questions for you, but we are looking forward to this update.
Sure. Well, I mean, do you want to hear about the buyback, or what do we you want to talk
let's
about?
start with the buyback first. Yeah.
All right. You know, we've been seeing the same kind of stuff that everybody else has seen. We had a mystery market maker come in over the last week or so and just kind of putting ridiculous asks up. Yeah. So we felt like this was probably the best way to deal with that type of interference. You know what I mean? We want progress here, and we're going to do whatever it takes to get it. So, you know, we felt like that was the best, most, you know, proactive way to get involved and handle that situation. You know, keep our structure tight and keep our stock, you know, looking good to investors.
And you guys have done it before. You guys canceled out shares before. So,
yep.
I mean, that following you guys, I know that you will put your money where your mouth is, and I know that you're sincere when you make that statement.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm happy to say that, like, right back from the very first time I've been on your show, and the things that my team and I were talking about, and it was hopes and dreams back then, but it's a reality now, and we've stuck to that this entire time. You know what I mean? We have no common shares. The conversions that we've had to make, like from preferred series to common, had to happen. I stopped the ones I could. I bought back shares when I could. We've retired shares when we can. We are keeping the authorized where it is. We're not going to do any reverse splits. You know, we are going to stick to our guns here. And, you know, you heard it here first. We're going to do what we said we did. And we're going to keep growing the company. You know, we're going to keep building revenue. We're going to keep getting these contracts, and we're going to keep on don't stopping, you know? Yeah,
no, you guys have been doing a really good job. The communication has been great. But you know what? And this is the thing, and I'll ask you this too. You know, you're always going to have issues, especially when you merge into a shell, or you know you obtain a ticker where people from 2 years ago may have shares that convert, and so you know, and that's part of the due diligence process. You know, that something might have been missed or whatever, but that happens all the time. Shares convert all the time. So, and there's friendly sellers, and then there's people that like to put up huge ask walls. You know what I mean? So
yeah. We also, you know, this was a thing that we discussed months ago when I was engaged in the buyback of D. You know, and there were people who held out, and it's important to note that you know these folks held out because they know that our stock is going to be worth a lot more in the future, and they would rather make that extra money. You know what I mean? And also, I just want to point out that, like, you know, we talked about all of this, and it's just kind of funny seeing the short memories that some of these folks have. And I just wanted to give a shout out. One of my Twitter guys, OTC Pegasus, was like the only person that was like, why is everybody freaking out about this? He literally told us all about this like 3 months ago, right down to the number of shares and everything. And I just want to say that I appreciate seeing somebody out there that was actually listening and paying attention to what we've been talking about.
There is a neuroticism, especially on Twitter, when it comes to shares, conversions, and you know, and we've seen it be really bad. We've seen friendly sellers. We've seen all kinds of things to happen. You know, so you know, people understand.
It's those short memories. You know what I mean? I'm still the guy who retired 2.3 billion shares. You know what I mean? And I'm getting hounded for letting, you know, a couple 100,000 shares convert, when we could be talking about my 2.3 billion shares that would no longer be restricted. You know what I mean? Right now. And it's just, you know, they forget no good deed goes unpunished. But I know there are some folks out there that are paying attention, and they see this company for what it is. So, you know, I know we're going to get there eventually.
Yeah, right on. So I also want to talk a little bit about your experience, because I'm going to get to the product in a second. But so far in your experience, like, you were never a trader. You were never doing all this stuff. You're a scientist guy. You know what I mean? So what have you learned so far in this process? I've been following you guys for about more than half a year now. I mean,
I mean, everything is very sensitive when we're dealing with the stock itself. It's a very different world, you know, and it's funny, you know, I do have to go between these two worlds, and I see these folks out there that, you know, I've learned a lot from my interaction with shareholders in terms of like, hey, your chart's looking like this, like that kind of might mean these things. Yeah, you know, you maybe should adapt this or that or whatever. And I've been kind of blown away by, you know, the detail and accuracy of what a lot of these folks have been saying. And I, you know, I'm here to learn. And I very much appreciate that. But then at the same time, some of those same people have no idea about the rest of running a business. Like I've had awesome suggestions about things like PRs and charts and how to interact on Twitter that were great. And then the same people like, how come you don't post your profit margins? And like, you know, other suggestions that are just absolutely ridiculous and would destroy my ability to negotiate with clients and customers and stuff like that. And it's funny to me. But it's, you know, it's good to learn both ends of that. And, yeah, I guess I've come a long way in my understanding of like the way the charts read and some of the other indicators outside of just share price, volume, et cetera, you know.
Yeah, no, right on. And, you know, life is a learning experience. And that's one thing doing what I'm doing here. I'm telling you, there's times I bite my tongue and don't use my thumb and don't respond to anybody because it's the best way to go, especially when you tend to be, when you're influencing the market and stuff like that, which is not what I'm trying to do. By the way, guys, this is not financial advice. It's a bit naturally happens. You say, oh, I really like the stock. Somebody buys it, it goes down, and all of a sudden I'm the world's worst person. But that happens. Yeah, that happens.
I'm sure you get a lot of that. Hey, why are you controlling these stocks bad? Right?
Yeah, right.
Make them go up. Come on.
Oh yeah, it's pretty funny. But you know, it's a nice learning experience for me. You know, being in this as well. I've learned a lot over the last couple of years in regards to private placements and convertibles and all the stuff. And I think if anybody wants to get wise, learn how to read a filing. You know, I'm still learning things in filings, and so that's pretty cool. I want to talk a little bit about what you guys are doing product wise. It seems lately that you guys are really going towards the athletic industry, and these are some of the products that these compressions, these CBD charge compressions. What can you tell us about this stuff? And you got the CBD cream. You got the compressions. Tell us what's going on here.
So, you know, it's one of the many areas where we've kind of really been expanding into. You know, we have worked with a lot of professional athletes and such in the past and currently. And, you know, when we see a niche there, a demand to be filled that we have the capability to slide into, we're going to do that. You know, another example is we're making some other skincare products now that don't even have any cannabinoids or CBD or anything in them at all. You know, and we come across, you know, customer, we're not going to be particular about, oh, well, you know, we only make CBD products, because we don't only make CBD products. We make all kinds of products. We can make soap, we can make lotion. We're probably going to be making shampoo at some point here. So, you know, anytime a potential client comes to us with an idea for a white label, that's usually what gets us on it. And then, you know, we expand our product line from there. That's kind of how it went with the Kava vapes as well. I think that's going to be huge coming up soon as these D8 regulations and other cannabinoid regulations push vapes and stuff off of shelves. We're going to be able to slide right in.
All right, we got a ton to look forward to as we grow the BFC Nation. And by the way, I'm making a huge pick, at least I think it is, in the BFC Discord next week. So you're going to want to sign up and get in there. Click the link to the Patreon in the description. Yeah, or don't. All right, that's all I got. You guys have a great week. And remember, there is more that binds us than breaks us. That's the truth. Peace out.